What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday afternoon edition of Crunch Time here on RotoGrinders. Got the Major League Baseball slate coming up for you that we will break down over the next hour or so. Completely different slates today between Draftkings and FanDuel. Just 6 games on the Draftkings slate. I know we got to focus on that because that's where the majority of the prize pools are and the majority of the viewers. So we'll focus on that 6-game Draftkings slate, but we'll add in some thoughts for the I believe it's 11 games over on FanDuel as well. Probably do the same thing we did yesterday. Since there's only 6 games on DK, we'll just go through those briefly game by game, and then we'll do the position by position analysis and add in some FanDuel thoughts there as well. So in order to help do that, you've got the weekend crew alongside. That's myself, Justin Van Zuden, STL Cardinals 84. We've got TJ Swarich alongside again today. TJ, how you doing?
Doing very well. A little sleepy this morning, but ready to dive into this MLB slate. Nothing wakes me up quite like chatting some not football. I kind of wish we were chatting football. Some baseball with my friends. And so looking forward to diving into this slate. We'll get some Spidey bombs every 50 likes. So let's keep hitting that like button and looking forward to diving into this slate.
All right. We've got Chief Will Priester alongside as always. What's going on, Will?
Nothing much, man. Doing good. I was having trouble getting some entries in, but I think it looks like we fixed the problem. So hopefully everything's good. I was having a location issue, so that had me a little jacked up there before the show. I was like, man, I couldn't get my lineups in, but I think we're okay now. So all is well.
Yeah, that weird stuff happens to me all the time. I don't know. It throws a location error on me. It seems like once a week I get some error that I've got to either clear my cache or log out and log in or try a bunch of different things to get that to work. But who knows with technology.
There was one day I really, really liked a FanDuel slate for something, and so I deposited and played over there. Won money, felt good, was going to play a little bit more and withdraw some of it, and FanDuel wouldn't let me withdraw, and so I was like, okay, screw this, I'm done. I'm just going to play on Draftkings.
It's terrible.
All right. Well, yeah, you just roll with the punches when they come your way, I guess. We'll see what comes up today. Does seem to be a pretty quiet weather day, as yesterday was. Of course, that standalone game at the racetrack in Tennessee had all sorts of weather issues. They completely botched that up. Was glad that nobody I knew had a ticket to that one. They ran out of food before the first pitch was even thrown. They ran out of beer. Apparently, you run out of beer at a baseball game before the game even starts, you've got a crisis on your hands. So it was, and then they tried to start the game in the rain after the pitchers had already warmed up. Strider got scratched, and now Burns isn't going to be able to go, and they're restarting the game today. The whole thing with that game last night in Bristol, Tennessee, was a mess. So hopefully they can at least get that game finished up today for the people that spent real high dollars to get tickets for that one. But logistically, they didn't do that very well. So in any case, that game is not on the slate because it was started last night and is just going to be finished up today, though they're only in the first inning. We don't have to worry about that one. Weather looks pretty clean from a DFS perspective otherwise. And we'll start with pitching on this slate. And again, we can add some FanDuel thoughts in here as well. So we'll start with pitching, then we'll go game by game. And then we'll go position by position. So let's start at pitcher today, where if you're on DraftKings, it was Jacob Misiorowski. He is on the injured list now. That just got announced about an hour ago. So he is out. Logan Henderson's back up. He'll start for the Brewers today. And he's your most expensive pitcher on DraftKings on a slate that does not offer a lot of pitchers. If you're on FanDuel, you do have Jacob deGrom and Dylan Cease on that slate. But Chief, I'll start with you. How are you breaking down pitcher today?
Well, I mean, if you're on FanDuel, once again, I think you got those options with the extra games. If I had to choose one right now between the big two, if you will, cards, is probably deGrom. I think that's where I will end up. I think Cease is fine. I think deGrom maybe should just be a better play today. If you're on DraftKings, man, it gets ugly real quick. I don't really like anybody. So I think if I don't like anybody, Cars, no reason at all to. I mean, God, I might as well play Frankie Montas. Like that. That's how bad this thing is on DraftKings. I think build your stacks cards and then just figure pitcher out. Like I think it's going to work out just fine building that way. That's really the approach I have. Seth Lugo, in your head, you're like, oh, he might be okay, but he's not as good right now against left-handed batters. Toronto's a tough offense. I don't trust anyone, maybe Cantillo and Frankie Montas, maybe where I end up. Edward Cabrera's fine. Like it's just, you get what I'm saying? It's a bunch of average to below average pitchers, and that's just where I am for DraftKings.
Yeah, that's pretty much is what it is. You've got some guys with some risk reward potential. Luis Gil is coming back from a long injury absence. You've got Cabrera, you've got Cantillo, who is probably my favorite. But none of these guys are extremely safe. They all have command problems. So you could very easily stack up the other sides against those pitchers too. Just a lot of risk reward potential, not a whole lot of safe. And the safe doesn't really come with a whole lot of ceiling. So really interesting on how you want to approach that today. TJ, how are you looking to handle pitcher today?
It's absolutely disgusting on DraftKings, on FanDuel.
Disgusting is a great word, TJ. Sorry to interrupt you. Best word of the day. Disgusting.
You're good. On FanDuel, like I don't feel as confident about DeGrom as I did yesterday about Scooball, but I feel pretty similarly in terms of I might want to just hit the lock button on FanDuel on DeGrom just because of how weak today's pitching slate is. I might do something like an 80% DeGrom, 20% Cease over on if I was playing on FanDuel. On DraftKings, though, like Joey Cantillo is going to be my top guy, which feels awful, but he projects well, and Minnesota's offense isn't very good. They came through for me a little bit yesterday as some cheap options. Matt Wallner hit the home run that I was hoping for. But Cantillo today probably going to be my top option among pitchers. I only have 5 in my pool. I don't feel confident about a single one of them. Cantillo, Cabrera, Montas are the guys that are, projecting really well, projecting for a lot of ownership. The 2 other guys, and I'll play those 3 with Cantillo being my number 1, but the 2 guys I think I like the best for tournaments just based on where their ownership is projecting right now are Colin Rea, wind blowing in today at Wrigley. Don't love the matchup against Baltimore. Baltimore's strong against lefties. I like against righties. I like taking them against lefties a lot more. But Colin Rea is going to be near the top of my list. I mean, it's a list of only 5 guys. And then Chris Bassett as well against Kansas City. They don't strike out a ton, but this just kind of feels like a day that, Bassett might strike out 4, but go 8 innings kind of thing, which on today's slate would probably be huge.
Yeah, that's probably enough. I mean, you're not, if I sort all of our pitchers on DraftKings, the highest projected point total we have is Cantillo at 15. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys between 13 and 15. So it's just kind of a mess. Can tell you I'll be underweight on Montas. If he comes in as the highest owned, that's a pass for me. In GPPs, I'll take the upside of a Cantillo with his strikeouts, or a Cabrera. We saw Yuri Perez do well against this Yankee lineup yesterday. So it is just kind of a mediocre pitching slate, and really a mediocre everything slate. Like, we don't have a single team total above 5 again today on DraftKings. And I'm often more critical of FanDuel. I mean, I just and how they set up their slates. But today, with having the Coors game on there, and then having the late afternoon games where you have DeGrom and you have Cease, you've got some other decent bats, the A's, the Diamondbacks. The FanDuel slate is much more wide open in terms of options and choices today. So I do like that FanDuel added those extra games. The DraftKings slate is frankly boring today. But everybody's dealing with the same player pool, and that's that's where the big GPPs are. So it's a little more exciting over on FanDuel, where you got all those extra options. Where DeGrom, I agree, I think is the SP1. Probably would put Cease next. I still do like Cantillo on FanDuel a little bit, but otherwise would mostly lean towards those other guys. TJ, anything else at pitcher for you?
No, not really. Hammering home, Cantillo is my top option on DraftKings and DeGrom on FanDuel. I think my favorite pairing on DraftKings is going to be Cantillo and either Bassett or Rhea, depending on where I need to go salary-wise. But, call back to the beginning. Disgusting pitching slate. We are, let's see how many likes away from Spidey Bomb number 1. We have already hit enough likes for Spidey Bomb number 1. So as soon as maybe we'll go Chief first for stacks, and I'll have a Spidey Bomb ready for the people.
All right. Before we do that, some people might ask about Logan Henderson. Obviously, he posted some really strong numbers in a few starts earlier this year, and he's back today. But, the Brewers have been keeping Miz at about 80 pitches, and Henderson, we've got him at 80 pitches. That's probably a cap. It's not like he's that much cheaper. He's 9,800. He's still the most expensive guy on the DraftKings slate. Just don't think it's necessary to go all the way up to him. The Twins lineup just came out. Ty France is not in there. Miles Straw is in there today instead of Ty France. So if the Twins lineup could get any worse, you've got Miles Straw instead of Ty France. So they're for what it's worth. That's what we got today.
That's Blue Jays, not Twins.
Sorry. Got my teams mixed up after the trade deadline. First time that's happened. All right, scratch that. No Ty France on the Twins. Ty France on the Blue Jays now. First miss. All right. Well, that doesn't impact the Blue Jays lineup. You weren't probably playing Straw in a stack anyway. So just make sure you don't have France in there. Chief, anything else for you at pitcher today?
Negative.
All right. Start us up with your favorite stacks, and then we'll go game by game here. What do you like at stacks today?
I really like the Cubs. Really like Cleveland. I guess if you're playing on FanDuel, you probably like both sides of the Coors game. But yeah, the Cubs and Cleveland are kind of my top two today. I really like those teams quite a bit. I think a kind of a 3A and 3B for me are going to be the Mets and the Blue Jays. I like them equally. So, the Blue Jays could be 3A, the Mets could be 3B, the Mets could be 3A, the Blue Jays could be 3B. But those are kind of teams that I really like. And I guess lastly, especially and I am played on FanDuel, by the way. Lastly would be the Brewers for me against Brad Lord. So, if you just kind of grouping them together, if I had to go in order, it's the Cubs, it's Cleveland, Blue Jays, Mets, Blue Jays, however you want to slice it, Brewers. Those are my favorites. And then if you're on FanDuel, obviously, I know there's going to be tons of affection for the Pirates or the Rockies.
All right. And if you are stacking up, somehow Jose Urena is pitching for his fourth team of the season. Speaking of Twins, I got the Twins and Blue Jays mixed up just a minute ago with Ty France. Not going to get them mixed up here. Jose Urena pitched for Toronto for a brief time earlier this year. He was with the Dodgers for a bit. He was with the Mets for a bit. And now, for some unknown reason, he's back with the Twins. Feels like his 20th team in about 3 years. And he's pitching today in the major leagues for the tanking Twins against
He
Cleveland.
is, in fact, pitching for them.
This
is actually happening.
I can't believe he's got another shot. He's been terrible for 3 years now. So it's rare that Cleveland is like a top stack. But on this very mid slate on DraftKings with no great options, you're going to see Cleveland rise up the list today. So TJ, your favorite stacks and Spidey Bomb.
Yeah, Spidey Bomb number 1, Pete Alonso plus 325. We will get the next one at 100 likes, so keep hitting that like button. But Spidey Bomb number 1, Pete Alonso going up against the lefty plus 325. I haven't had my first run of lineups come yet. I'll have that in about 10 minutes, but I believe my top stack is going to be Cleveland. I like the Cubs next, just like Chief. Probably third would be the Mets for me over the Blue Jays, but then I think Blue Jays likely going to be in there maybe fifth, because I think I'd have Milwaukee ahead as well. Coors certainly number one over on the FanDuel slate. Outside of that, there are some sneaky things I like as well, but I'll touch on that more when we go game by game.
All right. Somebody asked in the YouTube chat, Chris asked, who are the top strikeout pitchers today? I mean, if you're just on these main games here, there's not a strikeout prop over 5.5. That's the biggest number you've got today. If you're going for the later games, if you're looking to bet strikeout overs or something like that, you got DeGrom, who's probably your top strikeout guy today, but would not be a prime day to feel great about betting strikeout overs unless you want to go with some of these high walk guys and hope they can keep their pitch counts in check. But all right, we will go game by game here. TJ, I will give you the first honor. We've got Milwaukee and Washington. 9-run total here. Again, was supposed to be Mizorowski pitching for the Brewers. Now it's Logan Henderson. We've got Brad Lord going for the Nationals today in their continued run of throwing bad pitchers out there. What do we like in this game?
Yeah, so Milwaukee is going to be one of my top stacks on the slate. They came through a fair amount yesterday. Christian Yelich was a Spidey bomb. He came through with a homer for us. And so I think Yelich is still one of the top plays on the slate. His price has gone up a little bit, but still a nice spot there. Bryce Terang at second base is going to be one of my top options just because he's leading off today, only 3,700. Isaac Collins has been hitting the ball really well. Blake Perkins is nice and cheap. So I like this team quite a bit today. They're among my top options. Not number one, but near the top for me today. Washington, I don't really want to get to all that much. I think Henderson is a good pitcher. Now, yes, he is young, but Washington's also just stunk lately. Like, when was the last time James Wood did anything whatsoever? It was before the All-Star break. And so I kind of just want to wait for him to get out of his slump a little bit. I like CJ Abrams. I think he is a strong play today on his own. But I'll probably be pretty light on Washington stacks.
All right, Will, what do you got in this first game here?
Not much, Cards. Once again, I think, well, not much from Washington. Let me say that. I'm very much interested in Milwaukee. I don't really want to play either one of the pitchers for what it's worth, but I do think, and Milwaukee does have one of the higher team totals today outside of Coors Field. So I think this is the spot where, this offense could get going. I know it's cooling down kind of around the country card, so maybe some of these higher scores are going to start to dial back some. But when I look at Brad Lord's numbers, I don't see anything of extravagance. He's not really striking a whole lot of guys out. Not really giving up a whole lot of power. But I will take that when you're not going to get a whole lot of strikeouts. Once again, at least based on plate IQ, 5-1 down, just no power in this lineup. But I still think there's enough contact here to put a few runs across the plate. So would just be the Brewers' offense, but I'm not. Once again, they're not at the top of my list.
All right, I've got the Brewers have scored 24 runs in the first 2 games of this series, so it's they're top 3 on Draftkings for sure. Pretty farther down the list on FanDuel for me today, but certainly with how bad that Washington bullpen is, would not argue too much against a Brewers stack if you want to do it. Otherwise,
and I got to remember that, Cars, because I'm mostly playing FanDuel today, so I got to remember this DraftKings slate is like so small.
There's not nearly as much on the
2 brains. Yeah.
on the DraftKings slate offensively, so the Brewers get a bump there. Yelich may still your top play if you're looking at that offense. All right, let's move on to the next game. Kansas City, Toronto. Seth Lugo, Chris Bassett. Solid pitching matchup here in this one. Chief, what do we got for interest in this game?
So I feel like this game quite a bit. I feel like, because, and I will say this, because these two pitchers, I feel like they have a little bit more name value than run prevention value in this particular game, if that makes any sense. I think either one of these teams could actually plate some runs here. Like both sides of this game. I like Toronto a lot better, just in general. Seth Lugo is not anybody I'm afraid of. And when we get this far into the season cards, I do like to look at season numbers and they kind of last 30-day numbers just to give me an idea of how is this pitcher going? Are they trending in an opposite direction? And when I look on the season, Seth Lugo has not been as effective against lefties, 210 ISO, 347 WOBA. Last 30 days, 292 ISO, 393 WOBA, and he's not going to hardly walk anybody. So going to be throwing a lot of strikes and giving up a lot of hard contact. Lefties are looking like they're going to be a problem, and Toronto is throwing 1, 2, 3, 4 of them at him today, and most of these guys are hitting for pretty good power. Loper Fido hitting for good power. Barger hitting for good power, and Varsho. Varsho's got a higher strikeout rate, but if he can put a barrel on the ball, I think we can see one over the fence. So Dalton Varsho is probably kind of sneaky today for the bottom of the order for a home run for me if I had to take one, but do really like the Toronto offense. And then when you go to Kansas City, you're kind of looking at something similar here with Bassett and his struggles with lefties. The problem is, you're probably going to play Vinny P. The rest of these guys just aren't hit for a lot of power from the left side of the plate. So Vinny P is another sneaky play today, or maybe not as sneaky as it should be on DraftKings because it's a smaller slate. But I think Vinny P is also sneaky for a home run. Really like him at first base.
How quickly they have bumped up Addison Barger up to 5,200 on DraftKings, so not getting any bargain there anymore. It was nice when he was in the 3Ks, but out of luck on trying to get the value there. TJ, anything you like with your Blue Jays today?
Blue Jay is going to be one of my top stacks on the slate as well. Just having my first run of lineups getting built right now, so I'll know, it right if they land 2, 3, 4 specifically, but I do like the Blue Jays quite a bit as well. They're kind of in that same tier as Milwaukee for me. Milwaukee and the Blue Jays are not in my top group, but if we were doing tiers today, they would be in tier 2. Really like both of these stacks. Going to be getting to a lot of them. A lot of these Blue Jays guys are getting more expensive, but on DraftKings, we don't have anybody to pay up for at pitcher, so who cares? I like these guys a lot.
Yeah, that's another important point. It's not a day where you need to pay up a pitcher on DraftKings. So don't mind that as a maybe a sneakier stack. I don't think they'll be super popular against Lugo. And I could see, you can almost see any of these teams being the highest scoring ones on the DK slate today. Except maybe the Twins. I just don't have any faith in that lineup. But you never know. Cantillo walks a lot of guys. So don't mind going with some off the board stacks today if that suits your playing style. All right, TJ, I'll stick with you. Let's move to Minnesota and Cleveland. Cleveland, pretty solid home favorite here. 8-run total in this game. What do we like?
Minnesota, I'm going to be light on just because I'm probably going to have about 60% Cantillo today, so it's going to be tough to get them. But on an only 6-game slate, I'm not Xing out any of these teams. I'm going to have a full stack of every single team on the slate in 150 lineups. And so I will have a touch of Minnesota, but I don't like them very much at all. They're probably my least favorite stack on the DraftKings slate. And then on the Cleveland side of things, they are my top stack on the DraftKings slate. Not that it really matters today, but outside of Jose Ramirez, they're all really affordable. It's a really strong matchup for them. They've been playing really good baseball lately. The combo of I will mix in some Kwan, some, Jones, some Arias in a stack just because I'm playing a lot of lineups. But Jose Ramirez, Kyle Manzardo, Daniel Schneemann, Bo Naylor is my favorite 4 guys to play on the whole slate. So Cleveland's going to be the number 1 team for me.
All right, and you'll have to get to work on the next Spidey Bum. The chat is clamoring for that. I think we got over 100, so we'll
on that note, we'll go Bo Naylor number plus 460 as Spidey Bum number 2 today. So we got Pete Alonso at plus 325, Bo Naylor plus 460. I saw that we got there. I was just kind of waiting to get to the the Cleveland side of things for Naylor, and then as soon as we did, I forgot to bring it up.
He is hitting 5th today, so a little bump in that lineup for him, and don't mind that for sure. All right, Chief, Twins, Guardians, any interest here?
Oh, plenty. Love Cleveland today. Hopefully on FanDuel they're not as high on. I do think on DraftKings they're probably going to pick up a lot more ownership, and I'm checking that right now, Cards. I want to take a look here and see where they're. But love Cleveland today. Looks like Jose Ramirez and Schneeman are going to be picking up a fair amount of ownership on FanDuel. DraftKings. Let me check DraftKings here. Probably something or a lot more. A lot more ownership on those guys on DraftKings. Looks like we got Quan Schneeman and Jose Ramirez picking up tons along with Bo Naylor. So, but either way, I still think this is a good spot for them. If I had to take a home run today, absolutely be looking at Ramirez or Manzardo. Bo Naylor strikes out a ton, but doesn't matter. Like, hit it for good power here. And Jose Urania giving up tons of power to the left side of the plate. A lot to the right side of the plate, too. He's not sparing anyone, Cards. But to lefties, definitely giving up a touch more. So like him quite a bit. And then for Minnesota, against lefties, with this lineup right now, Cards, just not enough power for me to be afraid. Even Royce Lewis on the season so far, not really raking against left-handed pitching. If Cantillo can throw with some control today, I think he should have a pretty good outing. So not really interested in Minnesota, but tons of interest in Cleveland top to bottom.
I did just get my first full set of lineups in, and it looks good. I'm just going to roll with it on DraftKings, and I have 27 full Cleveland stacks. I don't have any other team with more than 18 or more than 15. So almost double the Cleveland stacks from any other team.
I wrote them up as my number one stack. I don't even mind stacking them on FanDuel where you have other options. Just that's a play against Urania not being able to stick anywhere in the major leagues at this point in his career, but yet getting additional options. And obviously the back end of that Twins bullpen has taken a hit with the guys they traded away. So should be some runs to be had at any point in the game for Cleveland today. All right, let's move on to the 4th game here on the DraftKings slate. San Francisco, New York Mets. Carson Whisenhunt is making his 2nd start for the Giants today. He's a pretty good prospect. Did get touched up by the Pirates a little bit in his debut. Frankie Montas is pitching for the Mets. Chief, what do we like in this game?
I like the Mets quite a bit. I think this is, like I said, another one of those teams that could absolutely just obliterate the slate today. Don't like them as much as Cleveland. Don't like them as much as the Cubs. But once again, them and the Blue Jays are 3A, 3B for me. I think this is a good spot for them. I was talking about roster and Frankie Montas and Cards. Quite frankly, I'm about to puke in my mouth because I really wasn't kidding. It's just I don't think there's enough pitching on this slate, on the DraftKings slate specifically, for you to worry about it. So you just kind of got to hope Frankie Montas doesn't get beat up within the first 5 innings, because that's probably about as deep as he's going to go. He can probably give up a run or two. As long as he gets a few strikeouts, I think he'll be fine. So I don't like Frankie Montas, and I want to be clear about this. I hate it, but I think with the way the slate is set up on DraftKings, you're kind of relegated to Montas, Cantillo, and I do, and Edward Cabrera. Like I play Cabrera over Montas, like for what it's worth, Cards. But I think if you're mass multi-entering, I think you just put him in the pool today on DraftKings.
Cover your nose and hope. That's what a lot of these options are today. TJ, what do you got in this game?
So I actually have a different mindset than when we were talking about pitching. I just can't do the 40% Montas. I hit the X button. I'm not going to play him.
Not 40%. I can't do that, TJ. Yeah, I mean that's asking for it. Good God.
Yeah, he's too highly owned. Projecting for too high of ownership. I just can't do it. And so I'm going with no Montas. I hit the X button and I loaded up the amount of Giants that I wanted. So Devers, Adames, Chapman, Ramos, even Schmidt batting in a nice lineup spot. Like, I'm going to be loading up on San Francisco today. Full fade on Montas, and San Francisco is now my second highest owned stack behind Cleveland. On the Mets side of things, really like them as well. Pete Alonso, obviously a Spidey bomb, one of my favorite plays on the slate. Really like Lindor today. Those are my two favorites by a significant margin. Like, I'll play some Soto, some Marte, even Alvarez at the catcher spot, whoever. But it's Pete Alonso and Lindor as my big targets from the Mets today.
All right. And I don't mind that thought of the San Francisco stack as well. I think that's certainly a path you can take. There's still at least some hope in the middle of that lineup, and Montas is definitely hittable. I mean, you saw him get knocked around by the Pirates a few weeks ago. So, all right, Yankees, Marlins, the next game on the slate. The Yankees trying to avoid a sweep. I mean, the Marlins just playing so much better baseball over the last month. Not sure how much they can keep it up, but they just keep on winning games. You've got Luis Gil returning from a long absence for the Yankees. Edward Cabrera, who did not get traded at the deadline, going for the Marlins today. TJ, what are we on in this game?
I really like the Marlins, so I didn't mention them in this when we were in the stack portion because I kind of wanted to save them for here because they're not like a top stack for me, but they're my favorite stack that nobody's playing. They don't have a single player projecting for double-digit ownership on either FanDuel or Draftkings. I really like Stowers as a play today. He's expensive, but who cares? We can play as much. We don't need salary on DraftKings today. And so Kyle Stowers is one of my top plays on the slate. Like, they don't even have a player projecting for more than 6% ownership on either site right now. I think they are very, very sneaky. Luis Gil is playing his first game off of the 60-day IL. New York's bullpen, even though they traded for a bunch of guys, has been struggling lately. I love Miami today as like a very sneaky stack that nobody's getting to.
Yeah, everyone seems to just kind of keep dismissing the Marlins, and we know one thing about Luis Gil is, he can strike out. He can strike out 3 guys in a row. He can walk 3 guys in a row. It's his first major league start all season. He's probably not going to be the full complement of pitches. You wouldn't think. I think he got up to 75 in his last rehab start. So just an interesting game. Both these pitchers can strike guys out, but they can both be a bit wild at times too. Chief, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I've actually been playing a fair amount of Marlins this season, just because a lot of times, they really haven't been a high strikeout offense. They're starting to remind me of what Washington was kind of last year, where they just didn't strike out a ton, and that's kind of what we're dealing with here. I mean, you got Kyle Stowers, who strikes at a 30% clip, but he's got a 331 ISO against right-handed pitchers, so hitting for a lot of power. And this is a guy that absolutely has multi-home run upside on any given day. So, with Gil coming off of the injured list here, I'm perfectly fine with throwing in some Miami stats if he's not quite right, because we do know if he's not cards, runs will be scored. And so I think the Marlins offense is a really sneaky one today, outside of the normal ones. In terms of the Yankees, quite honestly, I think I'm going to end up with Cabrera on FanDuel cards just because of how my lineup shook out. I'm not thrilled about it. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm hoping Cabrera gets me somewhere in the mid-30s, and DeGrom and Cease don't go for 60. That's kind of what I'm looking at. If Cabrera ends around 35 and those guys end around 45, I think I'll be good as long as my bats do what they're supposed to do. So I do like Cabrera on DraftKings as one of the better options. Like, why he's not higher owned than Montas is crazy to me on this slate. So I mean, he's not that much more money on DraftKings where you can't afford to get him anyway. So I like Cabrera quite a bit. We got a fairly low total in this game card, so hopefully he just doesn't get punched in the face too early, and I can kind of cruise through a few innings. And if so, I think Cabrera puts up a nice score. So I like Cabrera, I like the Marlins offense.
All right, last game on the DraftKings slate, then we will go through it position by position. We got Baltimore, Chicago, wind blowing in a bit at Wrigley Field again today. Not quite as pitcher friendly as it has been the last 2 days, but still a pretty low total in this game at 8 runs. Chief, what do we got here? Cubs, Orioles, anything you like here?
Yeah, love the Cubs today. I think this is a really good spot for them. I know the wind's blowing at, I think, 5 to 10 miles per hour. I'm not going to let that deter me. I'm hoping the Cubs can come out and do what they're supposed to do against Brandon Young, who's giving up hard contact all over the place, especially the lefties. This Cubs lineup, top to bottom, pretty good hitting team. Bush, Tucker, Suzuki, Crow Armstrong, Carson Kelly in the 5-hole, probably one of my favorite catchers today. Ian Happ, Willie Castro has come over from Minnesota. So, quite frankly, Cars, this is a professional Major League Baseball lineup, top to bottom. I mean, Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson are the 8 and 9 hole Cars. By the way, these are guys that probably batting somewhere near the 4 and 5 hole on other teams, sometimes even up to the 2 or 3 spot. And I know Nico Horner is, bat leadoff from time to time when they face the lefty. But bottom line, Cars, I think this is a really good team, really good hitting lineup. And against Brandon Young, I'm expecting some fireworks, even with the wind blowing in. So like them quite a bit. In terms of Baltimore, Colin Ray, another one that's just really struggling with lefties. Cars, 259 ISO over the past 30 days to lefties, 236 on the season, 16% K rate on the season. Holiday, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Cowser. These guys are hitting for nice power here. And I wouldn't be surprised if, a couple of Baltimore bats, sent one over the fence, even with some slight wind blowing in. Do I like the Cubs more than the Orioles? Absolutely. But I do think, a couple of these guys from Baltimore could have a day here with Ray really struggling against lefties.
All right, TJ, what do we got here?
Really like the Cubs as well. I'm lower on Baltimore just because I'm playing some Ray, but I have no problem with the Baltimore call whatsoever. Like Chief said, Ray's been terrible against lefties. Baltimore kind of seems like they always disappoint on main slates and go off on these small ones where nobody plays them. But still, Baltimore in a nice spot today, aside from the fact that the wind is blowing in. Cubs, one of my top stacks on the slate. As it stands right now, I'm getting to about 10% Cub stacks, about 15 Cub stacks and 150 lineups. Pete Crow Armstrong, my favorite of the team, basically every day, and he is again today. Even if that wind stops a ball from going out of the park, he's the type of guy that, well, if he gets on base, then he's probably going to steal one. So it's not a huge wind. I still really like the Cubs today.
Yeah, for sure.
On board with that. I think I ranked the Cubs as my second favorite DraftKings stack today, so I don't mind playing them even with somewhat pitcher-friendly conditions. Again, given the context of the slate where your run totals are basically, 8 or 8.5 in every game. So, all right, let's go through it. We got 20 minutes or so before lock. We'll take about 12 minutes or so to go through the positions, and then we'll get to some questions at the end. Again, RotoGrinders Discord, the live stream chat is where we prefer you to ask those questions. You just have to be a free member to get in there. So rotogrinders.com/Discord in the live stream chat channel. And here's how I'm going to handle this. I can tell that, TJ, based on his exposures, is playing on DraftKings. I know Chief is playing on FanDuel. Obviously, we've got two different slates today based on what site you're playing on. So I'm going to let TJ give the DraftKings takes at each position, and then I'll throw it over to Will, and he can add some guys that he likes if there's extra guys on that FanDuel slate where you've got Coors and you've got the later afternoon games. And then we can kind of touch on both sites that way. So we're doing that on the fly here with the way this slate is a little bit different today. So with that, TJ, let's start at catcher. What do we like on DraftKings today?
Yeah, catcher spot today is my favorite is Bo Naylor, my Spidey bum. Outside of him, there's a bunch of guys that I like but don't love. And so Naylor is my clear number one. He's super cheap. He's facing a low strikeout pitcher. Second, I really like Agustin Ramirez, either as part of a Miami stack or as a one-off. I think he's a great low-owned tournament play today. William Contreras is projecting as the highest owned guy. I'm going to be underweight there. If I'm choosing between Contreras and Naylor and cash, it's definitely Naylor for me. And honestly, if I can get up to Ben Rice, I think I might rather that than William Contreras today as well. So Naylor, my clear number 1, Ramirez number 2. Then that's when I'm getting to Rice and Contreras. So both of them I like, but I'll be a little bit under the field. And then it's just only in stacks, guys. Carson Kelly, Alejandro Kirk, Ali Rutschman, Sal Perez.
All right, you don't need to play a catcher on FanDuel. Chief, anybody you would add into the mix there, or just passing on catcher on FanDuel?
I don't have a catcher in my main team, but Carson Kelly is my favorite for what it's worth.
All right, let's move to first base. TJ, what do we got at first today?
A lot of guys up top that I like at first base, so I'm probably going to be using this position to spend most of the time today. So Pete Alonso is my top option, Spidey Bomb number 1 in terms of a spend up, and then in the mid-tier kind of salary saving range, Tom Manzardo is the top guy. So Manzardo would probably be the guy I'd be looking to in cash, and then in tournaments, Alonso, Bush, Guerrero. Like, those are the 3 guys I just absolutely love. Rafael Devers I'm getting to going up against the chalky Montas. If I need to go super cheap, it's Andrew Vaughn. I even think you could play Josh Bell. But my main guy by far, Kyle Manzardo.
I really like Manzardo today as well myself. Just cheap enough price point, good power numbers against righties, and we know Urania isn't very good. So, Chief, anything to add at –
I want to quickly mention before I forget to, because I was just fiddling with things and I changed it. Since I X'd out Montas out of my pool, I didn't only want 4 guys for 150 lineups. I wanted 5. I threw in Henderson just to get some different lineups. That's most like, it's not even that I'm really that confident in him. I think he's probably only going to throw 80 pitches. He basically just needs to strike out a ton like he had been early in the season, but was not doing in the minors. So I don't really have confidence in him, but just to get a few different looking lineups with an expensive pitcher in there, I did throw in a small amount of Henderson as my lowest owned pitcher.
All right. Will, anything to add here at first base?
Definitely Horwitz, Bush, Vinny P.
All right. Yeah, don't mind those calls as well. Horwitz going to be popular at a pretty reasonable price point there, leading off for the Pirates today in Coors Field. And I know the main sportsbook sites carried over. They have rules in their sports betting that the bets stand if the game's completed within like a day. So they carried over any bets from the NASCAR postponed game last night. So if you are following it, that game has resumed now. They're in the second inning, and the Braves have taken the lead on a 3-run homer by Eli White. So if any of you happen to have a Eli White home run bet out there, which is probably nobody, there you go. You got one. We'll see where that game goes from here. All right, TJ, what do we got at second base?
All right, lineups are in and ready to go. So second base today, my guy is Daniel Schneemann. I'm getting to a lot of him today. I think he is a really strong play, nice salary saver. He would be my cash game second baseman. Jazz Chisholm is my second favorite, not picking up very much ownership. I think he's a really strong play today, going up against Cabrera, who's a great pitcher, but I like Jazz quite a bit. Bryce Terang, my third favorite option. Those are going to be the 3 that I'm getting to the most, and I believe the only 3 that I'm getting to outside of stacks.
Chief,
what do we got to add here at second base today?
I guess anything from the Coors game, which, I mean, Gonzalez has been, he was hot to open up this series, so, like him quite a bit. Obviously, Steven on go ahead.
Piguero, or however you say his name, coming off a 3-homer game.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So, can throw him in there also. Don't forget about this this Athletics and Diamondbacks game also. I'm not saying I'm playing anyone for it, but Schumann is leading off for 2,200 on FanDuel. If you absolutely just need some super salary relief, he's leading off cards, which is a pretty good price point for
Yeah.
a leadoff second baseman.
And Marte's not in the Arizona lineup today, so you're probably not spending top dollar there. And I chuckled because somebody in the YouTube chat said I thought Schneeman on the Guardians and the A's were the same guy. No, it's Schneeman for the Guardians. It's Schumann. Schumann, not Schneeman. Somehow there's two guys with names that sound the same that are Schumann and Schneeman, but different dudes. So there you go. You learned something today. If you thought they were the same guy or had the same last name, they don't. Let's move to third base. I would imagine Jose Ramirez is going to be the popular play du jour, a popular spend up today. TJ, what do we got at third?
So funny enough, Will, you were talking about how early in the show, like you ended up fixing it, but you couldn't get in for your lineups because of a location issue. I can't get any bets in today because my betting site is having a location issue and not telling me where I'm in. So I full disclosure, I'm giving away Spidey Bombs, but I didn't actually get any of these bets in myself because the website is down. But 24 likes, and we do got Spidey Bomb number 3 for the people. There's one more that I really, really like today. So keep hitting that like button. Let's get Spidey Bomb number 3. Jose Ramirez, I think clear top option on both sites today, even on FanDuel. You don't have to break the bank to get to Ramirez. On DraftKings, you do. He's super expensive, but who cares? Because we're not spending up for pitching today. And so he's really easy to get to. He's going to be super chalky. He's the clear top play on the slate. He's your cash game option. Next, like after him is where I'm getting a little different. So I'm going Addison Barger, Matt Chapman. Really like both of those guys for tournaments today. Royce Lewis, when I need to save salary, I'm playing a lot of Cantillo, but when I'm not playing Cantillo, I like Royce Lewis. And then my options to get super different today, getting some Ryan McMahon in my Yankee stacks and some Graham Pauley in my Miami stacks.
All right, Chief, what do we got at third base?
Well, absolutely love Jose Ramirez. No secret there. If you're on FanDuel cards, you can get Schumann and Schneeman at third also, or almost any other position that you decide you want to play the bat. But I wanted to mention that Warming Barnable from the Rockies is a good play, and he's still 2,800, which is I don't know, insane for this spot. So you can get him in there also, and then of course Triolo. He's at the bottom of the order, but I mean, I think he was at the bottom of the order the other night, and I don't know, had almost 20 fantasy points. But any of these cheap Coors bats, I think, are good, and those are two of them at the third base spot. But clearly, it's Jose Ramirez's world today.
Yeah, definitely the top spend, I think, for most people. Do agree with, maybe going with Bernabel on FanDuel. Not the strongest position for sure. Thankfully, you do get some multi-position eligibility over on FanDuel to help that out. So, all right, let's move to shortstop here. TJ, what do we got today?
Francisco Lindor going to be my best guy over on DraftKings. Guy I'm going to the most. Obviously, there's a lot more options at shortstop on FanDuel today because you got, billions from the Pirates you can play. But on DraftKings, Francisco Lindor is going to be my top option. CJ Abrams next. I'm not getting to a ton of Washington, but I do really like Abrams on his own. Willie Adames, low-owned GPP play, I like quite a bit. Otto Lopez, I'm getting to. I'm going to be way underweight on Gunnar Henderson. Like, I'm fading Gunnar Henderson there. I do think it's tough because, genuinely in a cash game setting, I would personally I know Henderson projects a little bit better, but I'd rather go Francisco Lindor for cash than Bobby Witt or Gunnar Henderson personally. But I'm not going to tell you you're wrong going with any of these great players. Bo Bichette, I like for tournaments. He's just been incredible lately. But Lindor, number 1, Abrams, number 2 for me. I have them ahead of Henderson and Witt.
And then if you're on FanDuel, you can add O'Neal Cruz to the mix because he still has a shortstop eligibility there, shortstop and outfield on FanDuel. You've got Perdomo, you've got Corey Seager on the FanDuel slate. There's a whole bunch of extra options to spend up for at short. Chief, what do you like at shortstop?
Yeah, definitely was going to mention Seager. You can get Josh Smith there too, but I don't know why you would play him there. Just play Seager there. I'm so sorry, everybody. If you're on FanDuel, Texas is another stat that I think is just fantastic. So against Logan Evans, I think these guys could have a day also. But yeah, definitely throwing Seager in the mix.
All right, let's go ahead and move to outfield here, and then we'll take to your questions. We are under 10 minutes left into lock. TJ, what do we like in the outfield today?
Yeah, top option in the outfield for me is going to be these. This is when I'm starting to really get to these Cubs. I'm not getting to a ton of like the Horners and guys like that, but Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, sign me up. Getting to a lot of both of these guys. Kyle Stowers, another one I mentioned when we were talking about about Miami that I really like today. He's one of my favorite GPP plays. Steven Kwan, Christian Yelich. You can play Barger in the outfield. I like some Cody Bellinger. Mostly going to be a spend-up spot for me. When I'm not, Joey Loperfido, Blue Jays cheapy, batting second, probably going to be the guy I'm going to the most here.
Yeah, I saw somebody in the YouTube chat had asked about those cheaper outfielders, Lukes or Loperfido. So they are hitting 1-2 today. I mean, there is some pinch hit risk later in the game, I guess. You throw Varsho in that mix too. All lefties at similar price points. I tag Loperfido today. He's my preferred one of the three, but it's obviously a bit of a splitting hairs among them. Chief, what do we got in outfield?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the group. So the group in Toronto, Lukes, Loperfido. You can get Varsho in the outfield if you need to. Varsho, love that group. Love the Mets group. Nemo, Soto, Marte, McNeil. You can get him in the outfield. Cedric Mullins there now also. You get him in the outfield. Obviously, the Cleveland outfield. Kwan. You can get Manzardo in the outfield. Nolan Jones, that group. The Marlins, Stowers, Marcy, all those guys. You can get them in the outfield. And then both sides of the Orioles-Cubs game, those outfields, the Pirates and Rockies outfields. And, sneakily, I think the Athletics outfield is kind of sneaky today, with Rooker. Colby Thomas is cheap. I think those guys are a little sneaky.
All right. With that, we've gotten through all the positions. Again, make sure if you're playing on DraftKings, Mizorowski's been scratched today. That happened a while back, so hopefully everybody was able to get him out. I've seen quite a few questions throughout the show on Logan Henderson. I mean, Logan Henderson is fine, but probably a pitch count ceiling there as well. And it just kind of lumped in with all the mid-ish pitchers that are on that smaller DraftKings slate today. So, all right, question time. We've got 6 minutes or so left until lock. The Discord's been quiet this morning outside of Bill T, who wants to know when Chief's cousin throws again. Cousin Quinn has been very good for the Brewers. I'm not sure if Chief is warming up. It's just he's good now, Chief.
He can come to the family reunion now and not have to wear a mask.
He can bring a check too. He can bring a little royalties for the rest of the fam. Bill agrees that Montas looks like a disaster waiting to happen. Fair enough take there as well. Any interest in the 2K Miami outfielders from Lowboy? So you've got Hernandez at 2,500 hitting 7th, Johnston at 2,200 hitting 9th, and Marcy hitting 6th at 2K. Not going to pretend to know a ton about these guys. Marcy has had some good at-bats in the series, and he is hitting the highest. He's projected the highest, and he's the cheapest. So at 2K, he's probably your guy if you're looking to pick between those 2K Miami outfielders. All right, TJ, Allen's Club is asking for a DK tournament, single entry tournament. Would you go with Cabrera or Cantillo?
Cantillo.
I would as well. Alan wants a quick recap of pitcher on FanDuel. I know Chief's playing over there. So Chief, how are you handling pitcher on FanDuel?
If you're up top, it's DeGrom overseas for me. Don't mind either, but like if I had to just pick one, then that's who I would go with. If you are in the mid-range, then you're pretty much, in my opinion, you're kind of stuck with Cabrera or Cantillo. And so then I think I'd end up with Cantillo. And really, Cantillo's not even really mid-range. He's 7,200. I consider that cheap. So I'd probably play Cantillo. Next for me is Cabrera. That's pretty much my ranking. So DeGrom, Cease, Cantillo, Cabrera.
All right. I'm kind of in agreement there, pretty much in that same order with how I would rank them on FanDuel today. TJ, where are we at for likes here?
14 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 3. We got 14 people. We need to hit the like button. Come on, guys. All you got to do is give it a little click. Take your mouse, slide it over, give it a little click. You're on your phone. You got to click hide chat, a little X button there. Then you can hit that like button. Help us out. Battle that YouTube algorithm. Hit that like button.
That's a little more work on the app. You got it on the page. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
The apps are supposed to make things simpler, not harder.
App is viewer friendly, not creator friendly.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes, viewer friendly, not creator friendly. That's a fair point. On the we're streaming the video side, I guess was a little biased there. All right, see a couple people typing in the Discord chat. Get those questions in. Down to a couple minutes left until lock. Hit that like button for TJ to give out one more Spidey Bomb before we're getting out of here. And otherwise, we've pretty much caught up on the questions.
We do have Spidey Bomb number 3 plus 460, Kyle Stowers to go along with Pete Alonso and Bo Naylor. So Kyle Stowers, Spidey Bomb number 3 plus 460, Stowers, Alonso, Naylor.
All right, Jay Sam's in the Discord is asking me, Rengifo or Moore for the last piece of an Angel stack at second base. I think I go Rengifo there at 2,500. He is hitting 6 today. Burke is not very good. I don't mind the Angels today if you're looking for something a little off the radar as well. If you're on that FanDuel slate or on the late afternoon slate over on DraftKings. Better stack from Anthony, Royals, Cubs, or Mets. Chief, what do you got? Royals, Cubs, or Mets if you had to pick a stack?
I'm going Cubs myself. That's my favorite out of that bunch.
Alexander says, can I hear the closing argument on pitcher again for DK Cash? Play anybody. You click a couple names and you probably got just as good of a shot.
For Cash, I would go
probably Cantillo.
I would go Cantillo Cabrera. That's what I would do.
Yeah, Cantillo Cabrera is who I tagged. I think Cantillo Henderson is fine. I suppose we're all a little bit lower than the average person on Montas. Projections might tell you to play Montas. I just don't feel great about doing that. It's probably Cantillo Cabrera.
Cantillo Bassett too.
Bassett's okay for cash games too, but again, it's just all a hodgepodge today. All right, with that, we are at the lock, and we got through everything. So, Chief, anything else for you before we get out of here?
No, man. Let's take down GPP. I've been semi close on FanDuel so much here over the past 2 weeks. Cards, and I cost myself by just not stacking the Coors game. I got a little bit too cute that Coors opener, and had the pitching right. Got the right side of the Colorado side, and I didn't play any Pittsburgh in my main team, and that cost me. I think that night cards I might have scored like 200 points, and I think barely cashed. It was something crazy. I don't even know if I did cash. That's how many runs they scored. So you needed both sides of that game.
I saw the Pittsburgh thing, and I thought I was so cooked, and was like, I was staring at my 150 lineups, and there was one of the 150 lineups that was cashing. And then Colorado started going off, and that was my highest owned stack. And so it just started going up as we went. Saved the day a little bit to break even. But it was kind of wild seeing that Pittsburgh go off right in the first inning and just going, oh, okay, we're done.
Close the laptop, and then and then all that happened. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and get out of here so y'all can enjoy your Sunday. Thanks to TJ for producing and co-hosting. Thanks to Chief for joining as well. I'm Justin. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good luck with all your contests, and we will catch you later, everybody.